I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Bellflower City Council acting on behalf of the successor agency to the Dissolved Redevelopment Agency and the Bellflower Financing Authority, Monday, March 12, 2018, 7 p.m. We are returning from closed session with no reportable action. Let the record reflect that all city council members are present. Tonight, the invocation will be led by Member Dan Coops, and Joel Hockman, the Public Safety Director, will do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd all please stand.
Please bow your heads with me as we offer a prayer. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening hour to give you thanks for all the blessings you've given to our city and to our citizens and to our staff. We're thankful that we could all gather tonight in this safe place and witness a city council meeting. Be with us as we remember our firefighters and our sheriff's deputies and all those that protect our city. Be with us as we deliberate those items that before us. Give us the clear minds to do what is right for our city. In his name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag and join me in saying, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. The California Public Utilities Commission has sent out a notice of public participation regarding Southern California Edison's proposal to revise electric rates. The meeting allows public participation in order to provide customers of Southern California Edison to offer their perspective and input to the commission about the company's rate requests. The local meeting will be held on Monday, March 19th from 2 to 7 p.m. at the Port of Los Angeles Boardroom located at 4810 Airport Plaza Drive, Long Beach. For more information, you can visit www.sce.com. Let's see.
Mayor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ray Dunton, please.
Attention all junior high and high school students ages 13 to 17. The City of Bellflower is offering a new volunteer job training program that provides work experience and educational workshops to all high school students in the surrounding area. The LEAD program was created to help teens gain work experience in the Parks and Recreation Department. The LEAD program also provides many resources to help students become fully equipped for life after graduation. Applications are now available at the city's website at www.bellflower.org.
Thanks,
Mayor.
Mr. Dunton. Mr. Santianes, please.
Thank you, Mayor. It is no secret that the I-105 Corridor Expressway experiences heavy demand which exceeds the capacity of the freeway. As a result, Metro and Caltrans are preparing numerous engineering and environmental studies in order to implement express lanes along the I-105 between the I-405 at the airport and the I-605 in Norwalk. A local public scoping meeting will be held on Saturday, March 24, 2018, from 9:30 to 11:30 at the Paramount Community Center located at 14400 Paramount Boulevard, Paramount, California. For more information, please visit metro.net/projects/I-105-express lanes. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Santianes. Mr. Coops, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As a reminder, the city's next general municipal election will be held on Tuesday, November the 6th, 2018, for City Council Districts number 1, number 3, and number 5. This election will be consolidated with the general election conducted by the Los Angeles County Registrar of Voters. Our goal is to make this transition as smooth as possible. Therefore, if you have any questions about the election, voter registration, or which council district you reside in, please contact our city clerk's office, and they can be found at 562 area, 804-1424, extension 2271, or you can do it via email at cclerk@bellflower.org. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Garza, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, or Metro, formally initiated the environmental process for the West Santa Ana Branch Transit Corridor Project, a new 20-mile light rail transit line that would connect downtown LA to southeast LA County. Based on the feedback received through the public scoping period last year in the summer, and ongoing technical analysis, Metro is exploring potential modifications to that project. As part of the effort to engage members of the community, there are update meetings for the project. There's some tonight, there's some tomorrow, and there's some on the 17th and the 19th. Tomorrow, Tuesday, March 13th, the meeting will be in the city of Artesia. It's going to be at the Albert O. Little Community Center located at 18750 Clarkdale. That's going to be from 6 to 8 p.m. On Saturday, March 17th, there's going to be a meeting at the City of Bell Community Center. That's located at 6250 Pine Avenue in the City of Bell. That's going to be from 10 to noon. Lastly, the last March community meeting is going to be on Monday, March 19th. It's going to be from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Downey Community Center, and that's located at 7810 Quill Drive, and again, the city of Downey. And the reason that that I'm bringing this up tonight during my comments is because a lot of people in the community are not aware that right now, we as the city of Bellflower, and a lot of cities, actually 13 cities, are working with Metro to bring a light rail line that's going to traverse our city. So the whole, the bike path that we have going through our city, probably within 3 or 4 years from now, we're going to have a groundbreaking. We're going to start construction of a light rail line. And again, that would start in the city of Artesia, the line. And right now, the plan is for that line to end in Union Station in downtown LA. So that brings a lot of benefits to our community. It's going to bring a lot of visitors to our community, a lot of economic development. But the reason that I asked for this announcement to be done tonight is because Metro currently is analyzing alternate options. So the light rail line will start in the city of Artesia. It will come through our community. It's going to come through Bellflower. It's going to go north. But they're looking at alternate options of where to end this line. So it may not end in Union Station. It may end in the middle of downtown LA. But there's also talk about it ending in other locations in LA. And depending on where Metro constructs this to, it could have a big impact in terms of the potential success of this line. So the thinking is that if it doesn't end in the right location, it may not have as good of a rail ridership as we'd like. So I think, and members of the board that I belong to, the EcoRapid board that's working with Metro, we think that's a really important thing for our community to have an opinion on. This community has been really engaged when it comes to this rail line and telling Metro what they want in this rail line. And again, that's important. I think as a city of Bellflower, we need our voice to be heard on this. So if you have an opinion, I definitely encourage you, again, to attend one of these 3 meetings that I mentioned tonight and let Metro know where you would like this rail line to end. For more information and meeting times that I just mentioned right now, if you want to see them again, you can visit our website at www.bellflower.org. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Garza. The City of Bellflower would like to honor the members of the Temporary Utility Users Tax Board. We appreciate the hard work you've done for the City of Bellflower. At this time, I'd like Bob Snow, Troy Campbell, Stacy Cannon, Christina McConnell, Wayne Brown to join us over here at the right-hand side. And we'd also like to thank Jeff Smith, who is unable to be here with us tonight.
member of this board, and I think it was very, very interesting to see what's happening in our city and how our money's being used. Thank you.
Ron, did you want to say something?
Betcha.
Never.
Never talk very much, but I'll tell you, we have a team in our, the kind of economic development department that is very, very active and very effective, and I'm very proud of them and the work they do for the city.
Thank you very much.
Now we have Kevin Sales. Is Kevin here?
Yes.
He's gonna come up to the podium and announce the names of the winners of the recycling artwork contest.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kevin Sales. It's my pleasure to be here tonight to introduce a bunch of students who did a fantastic job. If you're not familiar, each year for many years, we've produced a community recycling awareness calendar here in Bellflower. And every month features artwork done by students here in our city. Fantastic art. Every year I'm just thrilled with the quality of work that they do. So I want to introduce these students, have them come up. This evening they're going to receive a certificate from the city, also a medal, a Walmart gift card, and some Regal Theater tickets to thank you for your hard work. So gang, here's how it's going to work. When I call your name, you're going to come up, and I think the mayor and the council will do the honors, making the presentation. So you go up there, okay? And Mr. Mayor, at the end, can we do a group picture with all the students? Will that be all right? Okay, very good. Okay, first up, Miranda Perez. Where are they going to stand? Okay. Rose Chavez. Next, Melanie Olivares. Oops. Alyssa Burgos. Alice Baltazar. Are you okay? Isabella Villalobos. Sabrina Medina. Next, Justin Saad. I'm not gonna, he's got it the other way. There we go, yeah. Okay. Alyssa Gonzalez. Travis Marino. Jada Rodriguez. Huh? Yeah. Now, all the students did a great job, but we did have a second, first, and grand prize winners, so I'm going to read their names now. In second prize for Mona Elementary is Adrian Munoz. Our first prize winner from Stephen Foster is Abigail Fiolo. And our first prize winner, her art is on the cover of the calendar from Stephen Foster, is Jasmine Manuel. I just want to take a moment while we're finishing up here. Please. This program would not be possible without the great cooperation of the principals and the teachers at all the elementary schools here in our city. I know we have some of the principals and the teachers here, and if I can embarrass you, if you're a principal or a teacher, would you please stand, and can we give them a round of applause for the great work that they do? Yeah. Okay. Now, the hardest part of the whole evening, we're going to have all you guys stand up. We're going to make 2 rows in front of the mayor and the council so that we can take a group picture, okay? Parents, this is your opportunity to take a photo. So it's going to be like the Academy Awards here in a second. up there. No one gets away till we take every photo. That's okay. Hardest part is getting lined up. Perfect.
You can see the camera can see you.
Now remember to smile now, okay? Last chance. Up. Okay. And I think with that, okay, Mr. Mayor, all these guys have got class tomorrow, so if it's okay with you, I'm going to take them out of the council chamber. Good night, you guys.
I think I,
Oh, Peter's here.
Lost our audience. We lost our audience.
all is right with the world.
She sounds excited, doesn't she?
What's he up to?
So Dan says, what's his photo? Yeah. He just messes up.
I'm probably gonna ditch about Beach Street.
About what?
About Beach Street. Needs more security.
Little hospital sent me a picture of the trailer he said that it was his. He goes, "Just so you know, you're down the street when you get to the people." I go, "Well, that's my commissioner."
Bye. Take care. Bye. Good luck in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah,
do you mind if I make just a quick comment as everyone is exiting at this
go
point?
ahead.
I just wanted to make a quick comment based on a reminder that our city manager gave me, so I wanted to thank him for that. When we earlier made our certificates of appreciation presentation to the temporary utility users, tax oversight board members, I just wanted to remind the community that's here and also that's looking at us through the camera that it's really significant, the work they did, but it's also significant, the promise that the city council back in 2012, there's a promise that they made to the residents of this community in terms of this tax, and the fact that it was going to sunset. A lot of communities don't do that. Once you enact a tax, I think in public administration circles, it's pretty well known that once you enact the tax, it's really hard to get rid of it. And the fact that the leadership in this city council and in this city kept the promise, in my view, it's really significant. So again, I wanted to thank the the board for the service before, and also you as a city council for the vision you had in keeping your promise. So I just want to make that comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Stewart, public comment.
This is the time set aside for the public to address the city council on matters not listed on the agenda. Anyone wishing to address the city council should come to the podium, be recognized by the mayor, and state your name for the record. If you wish to address the city council on an agenda item, you may do so by approaching the podium as we review that particular item. You'll be given a reasonable amount of time to address the city council.
Anybody want to address the council on a non-agenda item?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, City Staff. My name is Robin Snow, and I'm wanting everybody to mark their calendars because this year, the Bellflower Family Lions in Hollywood Sports Park is hosting a chili cook-off, and it will be on July the 7th, 2018 at Hollywood Sports Park, and it's going to be a People's Choice chili cook-off, salsa contest, vendors, it's going to be a great day. So mark your calendars, July 7th, 2018. Any questions, you can call me, 562-405-5089. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robin. Anybody else? Nobody else? Okay, Mr. Stewart, 11A.
This is a public hearing. It's consideration and possible action to conduct a public hearing to consider adopting resolution number 18-09, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute lease agreement number 793 in a form approved by the city attorney between the Stand Up Club and the City of Bellflower for the disposition of real property located at 9831 Belmont Street. And I have Mr. Del Longa here to make staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. The item I have before you, as Mr. Stewart mentioned, is consideration of the lease of city-owned property at 9831 Belmont Street to the Stand Up Club Comedy Theater. The subject site is located on the north side of Belmont Street, just west of Aidenmore Avenue, and is approximately 4,472 square feet in area with a 2,400 square foot building. The redevelopment agency acquired the property in 2004 to activate the building to help revitalize the downtown. About the same time, the RDA entered into agreements with the Youth Cultural Arts Foundation, also known as YCAF, to produce youth performing arts in the building, and this use has been ongoing there. In 2014, the successor agency transferred the property to the city pursuant to the approved long-range property management plan. Approximately 18 months ago, economic development staff was approached by the developer regarding the property because he saw a great opportunity to fill a regional void in the live comedy theater industry in Southern California, right here in downtown Bellflower. Although staff had interest in the project, we did indicate that YCAP had just over 2 years left on their rental and service agreements with the city in that building. Since then, the developer has built a positive relationship with YCAP, and they have agreed to terminate their rental agreement with the city to allow for this project with a couple contingencies. First, the termination would be contingent on the developer receiving the city entitlements for the project, which is the conditional use permit. Without the conditional use permit, the project is not feasible, and as such, the lease would not go into effect, and YCAF would continue operating until the end of the term of their rental agreement and service agreement. Second, if the developer secures the entitlements, YCAF would like to continue its service agreement with the city until its expiration in December of 2019. At that time, the city would allow YCAF, or during that time, the city would allow YCAF to use the Bristol Civic Auditorium and or other facilities for limited classes, rehearsals, and performances. The developer is proposing to create an open floor plan in the building to create a comedy theater with cocktail-style seating of around 120 patrons with the auxiliary serving of alcohol for live comedy performances. The deal points of the lease before you tonight are as follows. The lease is at $2,400 a month with the annual escalator, and that's based on a fair market appraisal and lease valuation. There's a purchase option between years 5 and 10, and that value will be based on an appraisal at the time of the purchase, but based on today's condition of the building, so that the price of the building doesn't include all the money the developer put into the building. So it's basically based on the value of the land and the improvements of the downtown. A late fee of 10% of the monthly rent if payment is not received by the 5th day of each month. And in addition, rent will be deferred from the time of entitlements of the entitlements approval to the city's issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. The deferred rent will then be paid over the term of the loan. The lease also includes a schedule of performance, and based on this schedule, the developer is required to have project entitlements within 6 months of the date of this lease, start of construction within 4 months from receiving their entitlements, and project completion within 6 months of the issuance of building permits. And if needed, the construction time period can be extended 120 days. Based on the schedule, the project could be ready to be open in about 16 to 18 months. The project will provide a regional attraction to downtown Bellflower, complementing the main event center and fire museum and the Steelcraft project. This project is another example of significant private investment in the city. Approximately $250,000 to $300,000 will be invested in tenant improvements, and it is estimated that the project will generate annual sales tax of $15,000 to $20,000 and approximately $28,800 in annual lease revenue. The project will also create 10 to 12 new jobs. At this time, staff is recommending the City Council open the public hearing, take testimonial and documentary evidence, and after considering the evidence, adopt resolution number 18-09, or alternatively discuss and take other action related to this item. That concludes my report. Staff is available to answer any questions. The developer, John Jurius, is here tonight and is also available to answer any questions.
Questions of staff?
No questions.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, is the lessee the same organization as the one who produced the comedy show a few months ago?
Yes, it is. We co-produced it with them, yes.
Yeah, okay. It's a good company, and I think it's going to be a good addition to the city. Just a couple of questions. What is the fair market value of the property right now? Do you have some kind?
Well, because we base it on a lease, on lease, it was $2,400 a month, which is approximately $1 square foot for the lease value.
But
So-
you don't have a kind of a selling price value?
Not at this point in time, because we would reappraise it at the time that.
I know, I'm just
yeah.
kind of curious in terms of what value are we talking about? If we were to sell the property later on,
We are
how much are we
talking,
getting?
I have to get.
I know it's not going to go up because of the improvements that we
Correct.
put in, but
Correct.
if we were to sell it now, what's,
I believe it's $300,000. It just hit me, $300,000.
okay. Is the purchase that part, is it a deal breaker? Is the purchase option a deal breaker?
Yeah, I think it is, yes. Yeah, I mean, we could ask that question of the applicant, but that's a big, he wanted, because he's putting so much money into it and the potential for expansion in the future, he would like to own the building
Right, but you
eventually.
can give him a long-term lease to recoup the investments. You can do a 40-year lease. I'm just kind of concerned because it's a prime property for me. It's right next to town center, and from my perspective, I think we should hold on to it as much as we can. That's my only concern, so.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Without objection, that'll be the order. Anybody wishing to speak on this matter from the audience can come up to the podium, sign in, and speak your piece.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. I'm Anita McInnes. I just have I have a concern about this only in the fact that the beginning of the year, last year or sometime last year, the residents in one of the areas here came around complaining about a nightclub and all the problems that were caused there. This is a senior center right down the street from the comedy club. So my question is, what is the city going to do to make sure that when this club opens, if this club opens, that the residents are not going to be harmed by noise, trash, drugs, all the issues that come about when you open someplace that serves alcohol and allows, activities to happen?
I'd like to answer that if I may.
Well, hold on.
Not from the audience.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead and start talking about the conditions you have, and then the applicant can answer the questions as well.
Okay.
Well, thank you for your question. That's a very good question. It's a comedy theater. It's in the performing arts genre, as the theater is now. It's in the performing arts. It is not a bar or, if you will, where people are going to come in and smoke and go outside. It's a performing arts center. The people who do attend comedy theater are affluent people looking out to have a great time. They go out for dinner, they meet friends, and they celebrate, the art of comedy, and then they end up going home. Theaters or comedy theater usually lasts about an hour to an hour and a half for an event, and then people go home. They don't loiter, they don't hang around, and most of the people there, an average night at a comedy theater, an average couple may spend anywhere from about $100. So you're not going to get the riffraff that are going to be hanging around a lounge or a bar with nothing to do better but to smoke maybe drugs or do something else. So I would say this, that a comedy theater, what it does to the city is it brings in other affluent people to visit the city, and it brings actually an upscale to the community. We're not bringing it down, we're bringing it up. So if you will, I would want you to consider it more of a theater of the performing arts, not a bar, not a lounge, if you will. But that's a very good concern, and I just wanted to.
Well, when I was younger, I used to go to a lot of comedy clubs and comedy theater, and some were great, and some I wouldn't go back to a second time.
Anita,
So I want to,
we hold the lease. If it gets out of hand, we'll terminate the lease.
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing nobody, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Without objection, that'll be the order. What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
I'd like to put my 2 cents in when Sonny's comment about selling the facility. Would you be applicable to a buyback provision of some kind? If it was sold within 5 to 10 years or whatever, but we could always have it in that provision as to buyback, to sell it back to us. But I would hate to have somebody that has a vision to lease for the rest of his life. I was always in that position and was able to buy, and somebody that, a business owner has more sweat equity in the property than just leasing. I don't know, it's not my expertise, but I know that could be done too if.
We do a
it'd
first
be,
right of refusal.
First right of refusal for buyback, if it was sold, that would, yeah.
If it exceed your, I imagine he might go on.
I'm just offering that to,
Yeah.
Well, I think I like the idea. My concern is it's a prime location as far as I'm concerned, because I don't want it to be going to a different kind of use later on. It's right there on town center, and that's my basic concern. And I like the theater concept. And if I may add, to answer Anita's question, the audience is coming for the theater, not for the drinks. It's not like a bar, because when you go to a bar, your primary purpose is to drink. Here is that drink is secondary, right? You want to be entertained, so. Going back to my concern is, I just don't want it to be put into
No, I
a
get it,
different
but
kind of
I'm
use later
thinking,
on.
I'm just trying to
So-
throw a possible fix out there
I think
for
you're
you.
looking at
I'm okay selling to somebody that's all in, so.
I think Jim's right. I think you're looking at a right of first refusal on the property. To do that.
You right of first, refusal or something like that.
Okay,
First right of,
yeah, I can live with that.
yeah.
Yeah. Can we modify that?
You-
I mean, let's ask
Yeah.
the lessee.
Move we open the public hearing back up so we can hear from the applicant.
A second motion.
Yeah.
Without objection, would the applicant please come back up?
By all means. I am not an objection. I feel that we are in partnership with the city. This is something that is beneficial to not only the residents here in Bellflower, but the landscape of Bellflower for years to come. So whatever it takes to work with you, I'm in favor for.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
First right of refusal, something we'll add to the lease?
Yes.
Okay, the purchase option, okay.
I believe
I
this,
make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Second?
I believe that this is going to be so successful, and within 5 or 6 years, you want a bigger venue.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hey, Mayor, I'd like to adopt resolution number 18-09, authorizing the city manager to execute a lease agreement, file number 793, in the form approved by the city attorney as amended.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Would you please, is there any other discussion? Would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Santinas?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Dutton?
Aye.
Councilmember Garza?
Aye.
Councilmember Coops?
Aye.
Mayor Schnableger?
Aye. Okay, the consent calendar, first of all, do we have some recusals?
Of course. Mayor, I'd like to go first. I'd like to recuse myself from 14I, 14K, and 14P due to the fact I have property conflicts that had all the same location on those.
Mr. Garza?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to recuse myself from item 14K, 14L, and 14O due to a client-employer relationship that my firm has with these people.
And I have none. Mr. Coops, you have none, and Mr. Santinez has none.
Mr. Mayor, I have no recusal, but I'd like to pull item 14O for a separate discussion.
Anybody else want anything pulled separately? Okay, 14O.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to step out of the room since I have to recuse myself out of this one. Just
Okay.
thank you.
On O?
Yeah.
Yeah, I pulled 14L just for a couple of things. One is I want to commend staff for bringing this up, and also for to thank the OFO USA Limited by trusting Bellflower in terms of making us one of the pioneers in this area. And I can tell you that when I go to different meetings with us other council members, I know they were just kind of complaining about bikes being left in their city, but deep in my heart, I know that they're jealous because we took a giant leap in terms of having this activity in the city. So having said, I really appreciate you taking the chance with us, but having said that, I'd like to get some kind of assurance that for the benefit of the public, what kind of actions are you taking to make sure that the problems that we had during the first phase of this project are fixed moving forward?
The first thing I think that we addressed was the education piece, and I don't think there was enough education out there for the community. So per my report, there was a lot of questions that needed to be asked. And what we did there is, as city staff, we put out information into different social media forums in the city, and that seemed to really mitigate a lot of the questions and concerns we had in educating people of what the new program was. Some of the other concerns were parking concerns.
Let's go back to the first one is education. Because when we launched this program, I received a lot of phone calls and said, Sonny, what is this all about? So I think we missed that kind of window to really educate them, because not all are computer savvy. They don't have smartphone, for example. They don't have computers. So how do we address that first phase in terms of how do we let them know that this bike is for rent without the benefit of an iPhone or cell phone or a computer? How do we educate them that these are for rent and you pay this much and you need a cell phone to unlock it? So how do we educate them on that?
Well, All of that education material is actually on the bikes, so it's having the user getting used to these bikes being here and actually taking a look at the bike, because there's educational material. But one thing that we did find on there, which did serve as a lot of questions when why the city was getting phone calls, is there was no phone number. So there's an email address on there for customer complaints, customer concerns, and then there was a website, but there was no phone number. So their first phone contact was, let's call the city, let's figure out what's going on. And when they did, we would get them pointed in the right direction. So that's one thing we're working with OFO on, making sure that information in future rounds of their marketing materials on the bikes, that it has a dedicated phone number on there. That was the biggest piece. But all of the education materials, even if they don't have a phone, it's on the bike itself, on the baskets, on the back of the bike. It shows specifically the directions, what you need to do, that you need to have a smartphone to unlock it. It's all on the bike itself.
Mr. Sanonez, I think to help address your issue as well, is we have the brochure that goes out 3 times a year, 4 times a year.
Yes.
We could also put it in the brochure, and I think it's probably a good time to do that. We were kind of waiting to see what the ridership is going to be, but maybe we
Yeah,
can do that, the
because
print
that will
copy,
help.
help reach out to that.
Because I think in terms of information sharing, we go based on the lowest common denominator. There's no cell phone, there's no
That would
computer.
be me, yeah.
Okay. No, I don't think so. All right.
And to that note too, OFO they were proactive in our spring brochure, and I'm assuming they're going to do it again in the summer recreation. They purchased a full-page ad educating the community within our recreation brochure, which hits. So they've already done that, and I'm assuming they're going to continue to do that as far as
Anecdotally, we're not getting nearly the number of calls we got the first month that the program was in
Right,
action. And I think, frankly, I think a lot of the issues have mitigated themselves. People learned how to park the bikes, and I see them parked more properly on the streets now than they did the first month or so. So I think there's improvements there.
Okay.
In addition, we're going to go through a full summer cycle, which we didn't have before since it launched in December. So we're anticipating them participating in our summer events, informational booths as well, different things that they weren't able to do in December because all of our events were over.
I think you also mentioned in the report that at some point in time you're considering putting some kind of a fixed location that will be marked.
Yeah, that's something we want to work with them on a proposal if we go past the pilot year.
We need
the
to
pilot
make
program.
sure that it's going to be used by the residents. I think right now we're feeling out residents where they want to see the bikes at and parked. And honestly, I'm not seeing them parked very many times anymore, at least not clustered going on.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite interesting also because at a later date, I was getting phone calls saying, where are the bikes? They couldn't find them because they're looking for them. And I told them, no, they're being used.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
out there.
Right.
I mean, I think what you're learning is that 70,000 people are using 350 bikes and using them well, so.
Okay. And I don't think I've seen it in the report. How many bikes have they lost? Do we have that number?
I do not,
Or is
but
is it a confidential piece of information?
It's not confidential information, but I think they are trying to figure that out as well. But I do have Jake Conway here from OFO, who I'm sure would be able to answer that
Okay.
question.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Council, for participating in this program. We're really excited to see the results from the first 90 days of our pilot with the City of Bellflower. To your question about missing bikes, we are starting to put together a physical count of the bikes on the street. What we're finding is that some bikes may be parked in a private residence. So before we come to a conclusion on how many bikes we believe may have been stolen, we need to get a physical count of the bikes, since some may just be inside of a garage.
Yeah, because it's kind of interesting. During the first week of this program, there was somebody posted a picture of a bike on a shopping cart. It was sitting on a shopping cart, and the guy was pushing it. So it wasn't used properly. Okay.
We're committed to educating residents on how to properly park the bikes and how to participate correctly in the program. As with any new technology, we don't want that 1% of bad actor to spoil the pot for the 99%. We are seeing from some of the transient folks that have been riding our bikes, there may be some sort of misuse, but it's not a significant portion of our ridership. We just ended promotional pricing.
So you're charging ridership now?
We will be, starting next week, yeah.
Next weekend, okay. So that's going to be the real test actually of usage is when they start paying.
Yes.
Okay.
What do you estimate the number of bikes on the street now? Do you think a bunch of them are in garages or a handful or? what's the number of bikes you think are on the street? They're not clustered like they used to be, so I can't get a feel how many of them are still out there available.
So we do have, 10 part-time staff who are actively managing the fleet, and so you will see rows. We also are trying to get a handle on the physical count of the bikes.
Yeah.
Our software tells us that we have 460 active bikes
In
in
Bellflower.
Bellflower, but we're doing a physical count currently. We have now a dedicated fleet coordinator just for this city, and his first project is to do a physical count so
So
that we
your
can get...
loss rate, what do you expect at 5-10%? What do you think the loss rate is?
I don't anticipate it to be greater than 10% now.
All right. Can you report to us when you get those numbers on what the loss rate is on that?
I believe we have sort of a monthly cadence right now with the city on reporting, and it's something we would like to add to the report in the future, yeah.
Right. Are you in favor or not in favor of a fixed parking program? Because I understand Mr. Sanonez's concerns here. It's better for us and more logical if there's a fixed point from which they can start from, but I don't know what your marketing scheme is, if you want them clustered in different areas or whatever you want as far as that goes.
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's something that we encourage only if it's a requirement of the city or if it's something that the city wants. I know that's a vague response, but some cities, because every city market is different, every municipal context is different, in some cities it may make more sense, in others it may not.
Yeah, I think we need to watch because there is some merit to that. We'll have to watch, see how it does after they start charging for ridership, see what that happens.
Yeah, because I think the challenge is they don't know where to return the bikes.
Yeah.
It can be the sidewalk, can be in my neighborhood, they don't know.
In order to sort of the magic and the beauty of the service is that you can park the bike anywhere. So it's something that we don't, there isn't sort of a, I would say, momentum behind an initiative that says you have to park the bike in a certain area.
Yeah, but it's also the fault of the system as well. They can park them anywhere. And they don't always park them in the right place. It's getting better, but it's not perfect.
Well, I think the challenge with that is if anyone can park it anywhere, then I don't know where to find the bikes.
Well, the bike
Because it
does
can
have...
be in the different neighborhoods. So if I need a bike, where should I find it? So
The bike does have GPS, so the map should show you where the nearest bike is. To your point about dedicated...
Oh, on your application?
On the phone,
on the phone. Right, okay.
And we would rather use software methods, educating through
Yeah, I got
software to encourage proper parking behavior instead of physical infrastructure on the streets. It's not something that OFA would participate in terms of funding, but just for example, the city of Pico Rivera, which will be launching our bikes within the next couple months, their Public Works is currently putting in painted parking areas at their own expense.
Are they all, I noticed that you had some bikes in San Diego that were white this last weekend. Are you using different colors everywhere? Or are you?
OFO's bikes are signature canary yellow.
These dudes were white. They had OFO on them, so I don't know.
It may not have been our bikes. I believe there are multiple vendors in San Diego, but it also could.
Just kidding. Same bike, but okay.
Mayor, I got a question.
Yes, Mr. Dutton.
So what's the furthest bike away from Bellflower? How far did it ride?
It would be a really good question for us to analyze, sort of who took the longest trip, just as kind of something that we can celebrate.
I know, I've seen it as far.
But we did pick up a bike in Fullerton.
Okay, that's
that's far. Okay.
that's about the distance I've heard.
I thought the La Mirada was the farthest.
La Mirada, Santa Fe Springs, Long Beach.
I see one regularly on my commute home on Imperial and Valley View, regularly at the bus stop.
Yeah.
Okay, any other
All right.
questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm good, thank you.
Do we invite Mr. Garza back, please?
There he is.
Speak of the devil. Okay, I'll entertain a motion on the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Without objection, that'll be the order. Moving right along. Council reports and comments. Mr. Garza, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just 3 items to report. On March 1st, I attended a meeting of the League of Cities LA County Division. That evening, it's a quarterly meeting. The speaker that evening was Phil Ansel, who's the executive director of the LA County Homeless Initiative. So he gave a nice overview as to what is being looked at in terms of Measure H that the voters passed last March, and the upcoming effort that Bellflower is going to have with regard to PATH in the partnership with Paramount and having a baseline as to what the homeless situation here is. So, the second thing is I attended the Read Across America event last Friday, the 2nd. We got invited by a variety of schools. I attended Ramona Elementary, so I thank him and Dr. Reyes for the invitation. I read to 6th graders. and I had a really nice time there. And in fact, I think some of our counterparts from the school district board were there as well, so it was a nice event. And then lastly, I definitely want to thank our economic development staff. I know that we as a council, we got a copy of an article that was recently published in a business industry magazine. And so we, as a city, got an opportunity to actually be one of the articles of focus in this magazine. The magazine is Business in Focus. And so if you look in this magazine, I believe it's on it's one of the pages inside, but page 66, but Bellflower is really nicely, prominently displayed in here in terms of the economic activities that we have going on in the city and what's coming up next. And to be in a magazine like this that's part of the business industry is really good for us. So I want to definitely commend our economic development staff, especially our director, Jim De La Longa, for that. So that completes my comments, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Coops, please.
Yes, I would like to adjourn this meeting this evening in memory of our good friend Paul Benjamin. Paul was a good friend of all of us, and he served on the Planning Commission with me and others up here back in the 90s. And I'll tell you a little bit about Paul's life. Paul was born on September 7th, 1942 in Baltimore, Maryland. After graduating from Baltimore County School System, he joined the U.S. Army, and upon honorable discharge, he moved to California, where he met and married Bonnie Baresi. They were married April 7th, 1968, and Paul and Bonnie had two daughters, Heather and Jennifer. Bonnie passed away in February of 1995. In 2012, Paul remarried Shelley and Ellingson, and so Paul leaves behind his wife Shelley, his daughter Heather, Benjamin, and her partner Gina Della Vella, and his daughter Jennifer, and Jennifer's husband Scott Walker, and their kids Dylan and Natalie, and Summer and Bo. His stepdaughter Christina Ellingston, and his stepson Kirk Ellingston. Kirk's wife Michelle, and their kids Cash and Cruz. Paul was an important part of our community, and I first met him in 1985 when he bought a refrigerator from me, and was always a good friend. He was a real estate agent for Boggs Realty. He later went into business for himself. If you go way back in time, he had his own store on the Bellflower Boulevard, Bonnie and Paul's, which was a clothing store, next to Charlie Gross's shoebox shoe store. Beyond that, he was a member of the Kiwanis Club for many years. I think, how long, Ray? 40 years? 50 years, Ray?
40 years, yeah.
40 years membership. And just was always a real promoter of Bellflower. He didn't have an enemy. Everybody liked Paul. He always had good information. Don Canavi appointed him to the Assessor's Tax Board Appeals, and he went to LA almost every day to listen to those that would say that their property was not worth what the county said, and he did that almost exclusively during this time in the last few years. Paul was a healthy guy, always looked wonderful, always had a wonderful hairdo, great clothes, and he's just a fashion plate. And all our lives are better off for having known Paul. Paul's a better place, Bellflower is a better place to live because Paul Benjamin was here. And I'll get this information to the city clerk so she can make the appropriate notifications to his kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. San Ynez.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. On March 1st, I attended the grand opening of a new store in Bellflower. It's Party Evolution. It's a new party supply store, so I encourage our residents to patronize this new store. They have nice balloon arrangements and other party supplies. It's located in the shopping mall across the Kaiser Medical Clinic on Clark Avenue, just south of Rosecrans. And also on March 2nd, just like Councilmember Garza, I went to Washington Elementary School, where my kids went to grade school to participate in the Read Across America. It was fun reading, again, Dr. Seuss' book to kindergarten, first graders and third graders, and it happened that they had the pajama party on that morning, so it was fun. So I really had a good time. Mr. Stewart, I've been getting questions, inquiries about the event center, what's all about. I was kind of thinking, is there something that we can do to kind of maybe do a kind of a short tour to just educate and at the same time market the venue?
In the city or marketing generally? I will say that the caterer is finishing up a website now. They've got a website up and running, and I think I wrote that to you last week. The website needs some work. We're getting some work done on it, and we expect it to look a lot better and be up and running fully in the next week or so. So they are reaching out there. They've had a couple of large events. They had a 300-person event last Saturday night, I guess it was, with the F&A Credit Union event there. So people are finding out about it slowly and surely. Tours are available. We can make them available to anybody that really wants one. And if the staff can't do it, then we will have the caterer do it, because the caterer's on site every day. So the short answer to your question is yes, we can do it.
Maybe if we can advertise some kind of a tour, organized tour, let's say for half an hour or 15
Sure.
minutes.
Yeah,
just to show it.
Yeah,
I mean, to me, it's a gem.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be shown, to be shared.
Yeah.
And who knows, they might be interested in renting the place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once they see it.
Yeah, we can do that. We could set up, we'll advertise, just pick a date and time and do it on a Saturday morning or something and make it
Yeah,
work.
something like that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we're good on that.
All right, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Ray Dutton.
Thank you, Mayor. As my colleagues and I approve consent calendars, it's kind of a dry subject sometimes of, that's approving a bunch of city business, whatever. One thing that was pretty exciting in the consent calendar was my colleagues awarded a contract for the demolition of the northwest side of Artesia and Bellflower Boulevard, which is the old Victory Drug and Ricky's Italian Restaurant and some other buildings there. But that contract was awarded tonight, so the landscape will be changing over there finally for the street widening project. With that, I just wanted to share that with the community of Bellflower, that things are moving. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I have nothing tonight, so I am going to adjourn to the next regular meeting of the Bellflower City Council, 5:30 PM, Monday, March 26th at 2018.
In memory of Paul Benjamin. In memory of Paul Benjamin.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he had some health issues and kidney tumor several years ago. Took a kidney out, a couple ribs. Yeah, he's got one of those infections. Yeah. Got an infection from a scar tissue because they had to take some ribs because the tumor was too big or something, and he waited too long, or thinking. And went and turned septic and took him out. He went quick. And he's only in the hospital, only 24 hours left.
Where did you move? Bethel Manor. On Cedar Street.
Oh, Cedar, oh, my niece.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know, yes. The other building next to the.
Yeah, we really like it.
Same thing with, who lives there?
Russ Regini lives next door to Carol.
Yeah, whatever.